Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. I hope all of you are fine and doing well. So the topic that we will discuss today it is the introduction to the peculiar behavior of the boron. As we have just seen that the group 3 elements, which is as the first one element we have boron. It is from group 3 elements. So as the first member, so it has some transition or some diversion from the properties of the from other elements. So let's have a look. The first one we have it's some these are the mainly properties of the boron. Its atomic number we have 5. Its atomic weight is almost 10.8, which can also be written as the 11 gram per mole. Its electronic configuration we have 1s2, 2s2 and 2p1. It's containing 3 electrons in its valence shell. It is mainly from the metalloid series. Metalloid means it can behave like metal as well as it can behave like a non-metal. So that's why it is known as metalloid. The state that is present in its nature, it is solid state or physical state. Its density we have 2.34 gram per centimeter cube, which is more than water. Its melting point we have 2365 Kelvin, which is too much high. Then we have its boiling point, which is 4275 Kelvin. It's also too much high. If we have a comparison with the water, so the water has its boiling point almost 100 degrees Celsius. Then we have the ionization potential or its ionization energy, that how we can ionize the boron. It is 8.298 electrovolt, which is high. Then we have the two isotopic forms of the boron. First one is boron 11 and then we have boron 10. So the main percentage abundance of isotope 11 is 80%. It is more as compared to the boron 10, which is almost 19.9, or you can say that 20%. Then we have the atomic radius of the boron, which is 0.98 angstrom, where the angstrom is 10 raised to power 10. Then we have its covalent radius. When it is having covalent bond, then what will be its covalent radius? It is almost 0.82 angstrom. So this was a simple properties of the boron. Now let's have a look at how it is different from the other elements. First one we have peculiar behavior of boron is it is non-metallic in behavior. So here we have the unique group of elements that just share the properties of both the metals and non-metals. That is transit between these two properties, and this property we call it as metalloids. So boron can behave like metal as well as a non-metal. So here the boron is the only element of the group 3a which is mainly non-metallic in behavior. On the other hand, it is the only element that has almost less than 4 electrons in the outermost shell, but it is not a metal. If we have a look on its electronic configuration, boron 1s2, 2s2 and 2p1. Its first shell, and then we have its second shell. Its first shell contains 2 electrons and the last shell contains 3 electrons. As it contains less than 3 electrons, so it is mainly non-metal in behavior. So it is the only element that is behaving like a non-metal, as it is having 3 electrons. It can lose the electrons, but as its ionization energy is too much higher, so that's why it is behaving like a non-metal in nature. This is the first peculiar behavior of the boron. Next we have oxidation state of the boron. Mainly boron always uses its 3 valence electrons for the bonding purpose. I just write over there its electronic configuration again. As its atomic number we have, it is equal to 5. So electronic configuration is 1s2, 2s2 and 2p1. Here This is its first shell K, and this is its L. Mainly, this is the valence shell. So it uses all its three electrons for the bonding purposes. But its common oxidation state, we can write it as +3, or we can also write it as -3, because it can behave both like metal as well as non-metal by losing or by gaining the electrons, or by making the bond as a covalent bond. That is the bond by sharing of electrons between the atoms of an element. So this is the second peculiar behavior of the boron. Then we have cations of the boron. So here in the red we can see that these are the mainly protons, and these black dots are showing the electrons. As to become a stable, mainly it requires 8 electrons in its valence shell, but when it just loses 3 electrons, then it mainly becomes a cation. So mainly the boron is having also the ability to form different types of compounds, but it does not form ionic compounds, and it does not form the ionic compounds with some specific type of elements. And what are these elements? The mainly we have sulfate, then we have nitrate and other anions, because boron does not form a stable cation. Its cation is not stable. So that's why it does not form the ionic compounds with the other anions. Basically, sulfates, nitrates, these are the mainly anions. And as its cation is not stable, so it does not form the bonding with the anions as ionic compounds. So that's why it is mainly non-metallic in behavior. As the next element after the boron, we have its aluminium. It is a metal and the most abundant metal in the earth crust. So boron is having some different properties from its other elements. So this was all about today's lecture. I hope you guys understand. And the next topic that we will discuss, it is the compounds of boron. As it is also very interesting that how we will study that how boron form the bonds with the other elements in different ways. For that time, you guys keep learning and have a good day.